So we saw Won't You Be My Neighbor, which is the Mr.Rogers documentary. I don't remember being into the show as a kid. If I was, I might have, but I think I'm going to let you handle this. Go.
It's a documentary film about the making of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and Mr. Rogers himself. And even if you were a fan of the show or weren't a fan of the show, this documentary offers so much information that I had no idea about. About Fred, about why he made the show and how he made the show, and TV from its very origin through the decades. There's a lot of interesting information in there.
So how did you feel about the movie?
It was a great movie. It's documentary and it's set up in the same way as every documentary, and that makes it a little bit boring. But the content and the subject is so good that I still really liked watching it, and I would still recommend it. Can you fix my hair? Thank you.
I do not like documentaries very much. I think for the most part they're all very similar, and this movie definitely fits into that category. It has the same trappings of this genre. It has like these instances of like quirky animation
Those
that
were
just
so stupid.
they take you out of the film so much, and they make you not care about what's going on. They make you like they destroy whatever relatability, something like that. They just like destroy your immersion in what's going on. It was structured very similar to most documentaries, where it's like he had some hard times, he had some good times, and then it ends with this uplifting spirit where you gotta go do something with your life.
Did it actually have dramatic piano music to express the tonal shifts? Because it felt like it did.
I noticed more like orchestral music. They were using a lot of classical music, which was throwing me off a bit. But I really liked the subject matter. I liked learning about his life, about basically the history of the show. It goes through a lot of stuff, and it never stops being interesting.
I think they did a good job of picking people that they interviewed. I liked seeing, like, there's a butt joke about Mr. Rogers and his crew, and I liked seeing that side.
One of the interviews is like the head crew member behind like the set and the lighting and the sound, and he just has all these like crazy stories of them.
And then you talk to his wife, who emotionally attaches Mr. Rogers through the years to different puppets, or you have the production crew who talks about how taboo he was for TV at that time, and I really...
His producer.
Yeah.
His producer had a lot of good stuff to say.
I really liked the way that it showed the decades and the transition of time and of children. And
there was a lot of stuff that I did not know about him.
And they had so much live footage of him and the kids. It was amazing.
That was really surprising, because usually when they make something like this about like an important figure from that started that long ago, they don't really have footage of them. They just have like images. And that really surprised me. There's so much footage of this movie of just him doing things. And like behind the scenes, like meetings he had with children.
I also really liked the way they had the audience perceive Mr. Rogers. I feel like you learned how genuine and amazing of a man he was, but then you also learned that he was a real person, and the show came from him and his childhood and changed him as he got old, and it really humanized him, but also made you feel special that he was a part of your childhood too. But not your childhood.
I think I would recommend this movie to moms.
I think think I would recommend this movie to everyone other than edgy teenagers who are too cool to care. But kids, moms, grandmas, people in their 20s.
Well, that's one of the things, too. Like, he's been doing this show... He had been doing that show for such a long time that there's probably not, like, a single age group that hasn't been exposed to him in some way at this point.
Where they talk about how they show their very first rerun, the fact that there are that many original episodes, and, like, that was such a huge thing for him to finally decide to do a rerun, it's amazing. His commitment, it's just awesome.
So again, I want to bring up some bad things about the movie. I felt like the director was trying way too hard to be noticed. Through, like, the music cues, through the tonal shifts, through the structure, just through, like, everything. There were these bits and pieces where he left in, like, the questions he asked. That kind of... It really felt like a movie that probably could have been better if it was edited by somebody else. Like, I think the footage is there for a really great movie, but this was just like... It's pretty standard documentary.
For this movie to be perfect, it would be better if it had been made by the crew who made Mr.Rogers with him. Like, instead of it being some young movie maker using all the young movie techniques, if it had just been a person who knew him and compiled his things, that would probably make it perfect. Are there any other bad things about the movie you wanted to talk about?
We didn't cry.
I cried at the commercial for this movie, but I didn't cry at the movie. Is that how we're ranking our movies now?